Excuse me.
Yes.
All right. Thought I might.
All right, we'll try something. Trying something new tonight. Monday. I open up all the city council meetings with some mindfulness music. Don't know if you can hear this. I welcome everyone to take a quick breath and get comfortable in your seat, whether you're here in the council chambers or at home. This isn't mandatory, so if you don't feel like taking a mindfulness moment, that's okay. You can sit quietly during this exercise. Can't hear my speaker on? No, there we go. So just, you can keep your eyes open, or you can close them, or you can look downward. Bring attention to how you are sitting. Find a way to be relaxed and alert. Try to shake away the Mondays. Welcoming spirit. Bring attention to your breath. And exhale. Come present into our all have full-time jobs. Start our city council meeting. All right. With that, why don't we rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem James.
Here.
Councilmember Leaks May.
Here.
Councilmember Polika.
Here.
Mayor Piana.
Here.
Absent is Councilmember Mikulski.
I move to approve, or to excuse, rather, Councilmember Mikulski's absence.
Support.
All right, moving on to the approval of the agenda. What is the pleasure of council tonight?
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Polika and seconded by Mayor Pro Tem James.
Polika.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Leaks May.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. All right, we have one presentation tonight. It is 4A, a Woodward Moves project update presented by Lena Stevens, our Downtown Development Director. Good to see you tonight, Lena.
Good evening. Oh, every time this makes me feel so old when I can't remember how technology works. Somebody help me turn this on presentation mode. You from beginning. Thank you, young person. I appreciate that very much. My name is Lena Stevens. I'm the Ferndale Downtown Development Authority Director. Here with just a quick update with kind of what we know, what we don't know, and progress that we've made in the last couple of months on Woodward Moves. You'll see here that our phrasing has been that we were going to start as early as mid to late September, and that was always designed to be a little bit of, you know, cover ourselves in case it started early, giving ourselves that flexibility. But we have officially transitioned to saying it will start in October. We don't have an official date, and we'll get a little bit into that, but early October is absolutely what is looking like is going to happen. So what's happened recently? So a contract has been issued by the Michigan Department of Transportation to Ajax Paving for $8.7 million of construction cost. One thing that's important to remember, because there's going to be a lot of numbers, that we talk about this with cost, and that particular contract is construction cost. So there are going to be some engineering costs or communication costs, things like that, that go above and beyond this. So this is really just that construction cost. I'm not saying there's going to be a whole lot of extra costs, but I just want to be clear that that particular one is for construction only. Work is expected to start in early October. We have verified that as early as late last week with MDOT to say, are you still comfortable with us saying early October? Do you have a date? They can't really have a date yet. They're working with that contractor to finalize that construction timeline and anticipated lane closure schedule. We have some idea of what to expect. I'm going to be sharing that in a moment, but it is still not finalized. Communications to the businesses is robust. We have been doing a really good job with that, and I'm very proud of what we've done. As we've discussed, we had our outreach day, our messaging plan, we have print materials, our social media educational components went live a week and a half ago, and things like that. We've been doing presentations at monthly meetings. We've also kicked up our communication to the public, and that's generated a lot of positive feedback as well as some measured critique. But the positive feedback was actually really quite surprising and overwhelming and wonderful to me, because while I definitely think it's our job to listen and respond to critique, I also think making a space for the sort of sometimes the silent majority or the people who feel supportive of something, to celebrate change, I think making space for both of those things is really an important part of our job. So I'm going to call this construction expectations. I want to be very clear that this is sort of based on what we've been told today and sort of our reasonable guesses. There was a pre-construction meeting held, I cannot remember the date now, but within the last 2 weeks with MDOT, with the cities, with the contractor, to get kind of the general layout and just kind of kick things off. As I said, they're still working on that final construction timeline, but we know that their fall 2022 work is expected to focus on the median. So it kind of sounds like they're going to start with their work in their median and maybe work their way out. And so what we think you can expect is that the left lane of each direction, so the left lane of the northbound, the left lane of the southbound, will be primarily closed, will be closed most of the time. Then we will expect periodic lane closures with 2 lanes closed for some repairs during the week, some night work, and potentially 3 lanes closed on the weekends. That is one thing that they have told us. We will get more specific as we can, as they finalize that. So I think it's important to know that 1 lane closure is probably going to be most of the time. And then we're going to see periodic closures that restrict the road down a little bit more. Any questions about that part? Not that I can necessarily answer them today, but that I could note them to get more information. So kind of talking about Woodward Moves 101, that was kind of the name we gave for launching sort of our educational component. So this was the post that we did to social media. So that it does hit our business community. In fact, a lot of our businesses actually do follow us on social media. So it's not always just like a Venn diagram of separation. There's crossover, but it's a lot more public facing. That went live on September 15th. And it was actually interesting. Downtown Ferndale and City of Ferndale had opposite interactions. So we had a lot of likes on Instagram and a fewer views on Facebook, whereas the city was the opposite. The city has more views on Facebook and fewer on Instagram. And I think that just kind of, the Instagram channel is more recent, it's building up its followership and things like that. But to put it in reference, our first post about kicking off Arts Festival weekend got 600 likes. So an educational post of graphics getting 450 likes blew me out of the water. I never thought we were going to get that level of engagement. I'll talk in a moment about some of the critiques or questions that kind of rose to the top, but overall, I was incredibly satisfied with the performance of that as an educational component. I want to also be clear that every City of Ferndale newsletter that has gone out this year in 2022 had some mention of this project, and I believe even the last one had the graphic. So even before we had the graphic images, we were still saying this is coming this fall. We were still giving that primer. So the general public has been receiving that notice in that format as well. So this was the business newsletter that went out to 1,600 email addresses that the DDA has. It was opened by 623, which is just under 40%, which doesn't sound good, but it's actually very good. A 40% open rate is okay. And I thought this was really funny because the top openers were Jenny Marr at 136, which I thought, wow, she really read that a lot. But she forwarded it to her entire board, to her staff. If they then forward it to anybody else, that gets recorded as a Jenny Marr open. So good job, Jenny. Maria came in second. She's actually with Working Class Outlaws and works primarily with Imperial. So I'm guessing she forwarded to her staff. So that's wonderful. Then I was in third place and Joe was in fourth place with our open. So that was actually really good. So you see that open by 623 accounts. That doesn't count this. That, like, you have to go up from there when you're saying there's 136 other people or 135 other people, but you probably read it more than once, but that saw it. So it's got more impact than that. So we're really excited about that. So some comments and questions that have risen to the top is one of the ones that I think we can do something about is that the project won't increase intersection safety. And I think the next step for us is really to develop some visual materials that demonstrate how a vehicle is going to be able to pull in front of the bike lane and the crosswalk before they make their right-hand turn onto Woodward, and also some maps indicating parking removal. It was like one of the number one first comments we got was, well, this is all well and good, but it's still going to be super scary and dangerous to make that right-hand turn onto Woodward. So I think with some visual representations, we can show people that this is designed to improve that, and a car will not have to nose into the bike lane. In fact, the bike lane will be behind you as you pull out. Cyclists don't follow the rules of the road is another one, and I need some help with that. Honestly and truly, I don't really know how to answer that, not being a cyclist, myself, I ride a bike, but how I answer, cyclists don't follow the rules, so this is gonna be awful, so I could use some help there. A couple of questions about the bike lanes having debris in them. And our answer is very honest and transparent that we're learning and we're getting better every season. I've watched us get better in the 3 years that I've been here. Nobody's perfect, but we've got better equipment, we've got better approaches, and it's more part of our day-to-day business. So we're kind of honest about that. Like, yeah, we hear you and we're trying to get better. Another question was that the bike lanes should be straight. And I think one of the things we have to talk about is that this is designed to be safer. It is not designed to be perfect, but moving the lampposts and moving some of that infrastructure was pretty cost prohibitive. And also it wouldn't, if it didn't snake, it wouldn't allow the vehicle to pull in front of the bike lane at the intersection. So, I think we can be clear that, yeah, we can do more in the future to maybe hopefully straighten this out, see what we can do in the future. But this, with the money, with the time, with the resources we have, this is going to be vastly better than current conditions. Bike lanes are going to be underutilized, so SEMCOG, we are working with SEMCOG through the mayor, and Roger's taken a lead on that to do bike and ped counts so that we can compare. We can make some comparisons. And then also that the median should have public transit, and to that we say, wouldn't that be lovely? A little movie reference for you there. So I thought that was sweet that we heard that more than once of people saying, well, wouldn't it be great if there was still transit down the median? So I really enjoyed that. Are there any other comments, any other things that you saw that you would like to see us addressing, or any comments on these responses?
Through the chair, this is more my question than one that I've heard. But am I correct that bike lanes aren't necessarily restricted to bikes, that people can roll in wheelchairs, walk them? E-scooters. Do you have the correct information about sharing the bike lane?
So I don't want to give a definitive answer now. I believe that, yes, you are correct, and I've been given every indication as such. I think that needs to be like a more definitive sort of like legal conversation before we say exactly what it means. But yes, my interpretation has been that it will be more inclusive, but that's a good point, that potentially we can start building that in our language, and I will work that out internally. If anybody else in the room has a better answer than that, feel free to step up, but that is my understanding as well.
If I may, through the chair, I think you might have missed one of the questions there,
Okay.
just to kind of add some clarity. There was a concern, I guess, regarding the bike lanes remaining clean.
Yes, yeah, free of debris and things like that, yeah. Right now, our answer has been that, to clarify for folks, that is a responsibility of the Department of Public Works, and often, potentially, with the DDA and things like that, and that we are, every year getting better equipment, every year getting better expertise and getting better at it, recognizing that we're not perfect, recognizing that we have to learn and get better. But we've been trying to be transparent with that answer, that telling them whose responsibility it is, telling them that we're working to get better.
And may I add on to that question, which I don't see, which is the opposite of dirty, but is snow removal and cleaner. How will that happen? And I think that's part of the new equipment and learning curve. Those are some questions I hear about our other bike lanes, but I think it's going to be a lot more prevalent along Woodward, since it's a direct route to key assets that people want to get to up and down the corridor.
Good point. I think just that because it's not snowing right now,
Guarantee
that's why we're
gonna
not getting
come
it,
up
but
the
yeah.
first snow.
Yeah, but getting a picture of the equipment that we use so we can start to say, this is the thing. And I want to be very clear that I think Department of Public Works does an amazing job. I think I have watched them improve and try to improve and be aware of it, and I think it's fantastic. I just think it's also important to be transparent that we're humans and we're learning at the same time. So, yeah, but that I will get an answer on snow removal and potentially a picture of the equipment to help people visualize.
Was that the end of your presentation?
No, one more. And then I'm going to invite Dan and Tasik up just to talk a little bit about the project cost side of things. Just because while I understand this, I feel like he has a little bit more of a solid understanding to answer some of the more detailed questions.
Good evening tonight, Mayor and Council. So overall, the bid that was awarded for the construction of this project came in at roughly $8.7 million. That is MDOT's portion of the work, that's the City of Ferndale's portion of the work, and that is the City of Pleasant Ridge's portion of the work. If you go around within those circles, you'll have, $1,176,000 with the City of Ferndale, the $139,000 with the City of Pleasant Ridge, $2 million in grants, and then $5.5 million with MDOT. Now those all don't add up to $8.7 million. That's largely because there are some construction engineering costs that are not captured in that $8.7 million. And that's largely because when we do our cost share for the grant award, the construction engineering is not covered in those construction costs. So that $1.1 million with the City of Ferndale is our portion of construction-related costs and our construction engineering costs. And then on top of that, you don't have MDOT's construction engineering costs that are factored into it as well. But largely, the bid came back pretty much in line with the cost estimate. The one thing is, I think it's roughly $100,000 less on our side and Pleasant Ridge's side versus what MDOT originally put together for the cost estimate. So largely I think 4.4% that the bid came over the total cost estimate was on the MDOT side of things with monitoring traffic control devices and stuff like that. But that bid's been awarded. These are the cost estimates that we'll have moving forward with the project, and they'll be getting started on the work here pretty soon. So now it'll just be communicating the staging as they work through. I imagine they're going to try and get as much done this fall, but it all really depends on how the weather decides to greet us this winter.
So that does conclude the presentation, but I'm here to answer any questions.
Any questions for Lena at this time? I'm really just grateful for your work on the marketing and communications for the business side and moving into the public. So this is a big project, and getting off on the right foot is really important. We have together.
Great to hear that. Thank you.
All right, that concludes our presentations for this evening, and we're moving on to the call of audience. We set aside 30 minutes for call to audience and invite residents to come up and say and speak on any item that is on your mind this evening. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes, and we have a really large mindfulness clock to help guide you on your comment making. And so if there's anybody who would like to make comments tonight, I invite you up to the dais or the podium. Hi, Sherry, it's good to see you.
Oh, yes, my clock, my 3-minute
Yes.
timer. All right. I am Sherry A. Wells. I live at 315 West Troy, and I took the Sacra compost tour a few weeks ago, and I will be writing up an article after Ms. Bruner gives her talk to include that in the article. The article will show up in the Oakland County Times, and that doesn't show up very well. www.oc115.com, and that's Crystal's. It's subscribed for no money required, but she does appreciate contributions to feed herself and her cat. But she likes pictures, so I took pictures up there. And they say a picture tells 1,000 words, and when you look at the pictures on that, your first word is going to be yuck. And you didn't even have the chance to smell the place. So this is very important, and especially because we've got fall coming up. The yard waste is supposed to be just that, just stuff that Mother Nature blessed your yard with, that is too much for you. You put it in the bins. So it is not, and it can be any fruit and vegetable scraps that are fresh, direct from Mother Nature, not cooked, not meat, fish, bones, oils, fats, dairy products, cooked food. Eggshells and coffee grounds are not supposed to go in there, but they can go in your garden. Smash up the eggshells. Roses like coffee grounds, so that's where those go, but not in the yard waste bins. It's really important when our sweeper comes through to get up the leaves that please go through the stuff, make sure you've picked up litter. One of the big things is on the bottom of the list of what doesn't go in there is pet poop. And that includes cat litter. I had my yard waste bin emptied, and I went to pull it back from the curb, and someone had dropped a little plastic bag of poop in there. So I had to reach in there, pull it out, but it does not go into the yard waste. It really can't. And speaking of bins, when your recycle bin is at least half full, then put it out. But some people put them out, otherwise nice, thoughtful people, when they have like this much in there. And they explain to us that that's wear and tear on the trucks to have to stop so many times, and on the workers too. And in fact, my little bag of trash, I can usually put it in either neighbor's trash bin, because that's all I have every week. So the recycle bin, but also the yard waste bin, unless you do have the food scraps in it that might attract rats, fill that up more before you put it out, please. And the other green thing, which is part of why I'm wearing this. Did I run out of time?
You did, but why don't you wrap up? I understand not wearing glasses and can't see far.
These are driving glasses. I can now see from my bed to the bathroom, which before the cataract surgery I had a problem with. I'm wearing green because I am the Green Party candidate for, U of M Board of Regents. I got my bachelor's at Michigan State, my law degree at Wayne State, and now I want to go to U of M about paying tuition, so I will be running for the board.
Thanks, Sherry. Good luck on your campaign.
Thank you.
All right. Who would like to come on up and make some comments? Who's our next contestant? All right, we're pretty quiet tonight. Going once, twice? Anybody? Okay, I am going to close public comment at 7:23, and we are going to move on to the consent agenda. We have no public hearings tonight, so I will read the very short consent agenda, and council can make a decision. So first is 7A, approval of the September 12th, 2022 meeting minutes. 7B, consideration of amendment to Chapter 7, Business Regulations and Licenses, Article 20, Medical Marijuana Facility and Medical Marijuana Establishments of the City Charter. 7C, approval of the municipal credit and community credit contract for fiscal year 2023 with SMART and authorization for the mayor to sign the related contract. 7D, resolution recognizing the life of Otis Keith. And 7E, approval of the bills and payrolls as submitted by the city manager's office and subject to review by the council finance committee. What is the wishes of council tonight with the consent agenda?
I move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Support.
Moved by Mayor Pro Tem James and supported by Councilwoman Leaks May. Did you want to?
I would, Mayor,
resolution?
if I could read the resolution for Otis Keith. Mayor Melanie Piana, on behalf of the Ferndale City Council, extends the city's condolences to the family of Otis Keith. Otis devoted over 30 years of his life as a maintenance technician for the Ferndale Housing Commission, where so many people were pleasantly exposed to his kindness, patience, and great sense of humor. During this time with the Ferndale Housing Commission, he developed a strong brotherhood-like relationship with his colleague and close friend, Jose Gonzalez. He is survived by his wife, children, and grandchildren, as well as his loving extended family from Georgia. Mayor, I also know that Heather Van Pooker from the Housing Commission is here. I believe she would like to say a few words, and possibly some members of his family.
Please come up to the podium, and if any family members like to say something too, more than welcome.
Thank you so much for publicly recognizing our dear friend and colleague Otis Keith. Members of his family are here tonight to receive the recognition on his behalf, and I just want to highlight for the community what a rare and treasured thing it is for someone to dedicate over 3 decades of his life in service to this community and to our residents. And one thing that I can say about Otis is knowing how lovingly he spoke about his family and how dedicated he was to his family, he brought that to work. And I think our residents enjoyed just a kind and open heart from him. And when they had to welcome him into their homes to do his work, he certainly made that a pleasant experience for them. So I just want to thank you on behalf of the family. And does anyone want to come and say anything? Okay. And I just want to thank you so much for the public opportunity to recognize this rare achievement of his dedication to the community.
So I don't really have much to say, but thank you so much for caring about my dad and all. Thanks you guys so much. He meant the world to us, and it's kind of hard right now, so, you know. But we came to make sure we thank you all so much, just even thinking about my dad.
You said Otis was your father?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm his oldest daughter. This is this is his twin, like she said, and his other twin, because they all look just alike. But yeah, and my mom, she's over there, but she can't make it up, guys. So, but we do appreciate you guys so much. Thank you so much.
I'm sorry
Just
for
loving my pops.
Thank you.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
I didn't mention Jose's back there too.
Oh, he's sorry. I didn't even see you.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor for the consent agenda. Roll call.
James.
Yes.
Leaksmay.
Yes.
Polika.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. All right, that concludes our consent agenda, and we are moving on to the regular agenda. And we only have 2 items this evening, and the first one is 8A, termination of February 29th, 2000 Kulik Center lease agreement. And introducing this is our city manager.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I do not have a presentation planned. I just would walk you through the call to action. What is in front of council tonight is just a formal separation of the current lease agreement with the Kula Community Center between the city and the schools. The school board is considering the same agreement right now at their same board meeting scheduled for 7 o'clock on a Monday. So both sides have worked together collaboratively over the past several months on moving forward in this direction, and this direction actually is one of the baseline recommendations that will be included in the facilities task force that we're currently working on. And as the call to action references, City Council appointed a 9-member task force of residents to study the facilities condition assessment that was completed in 21, and then review the facilities make priorities and recommendations for investments. There was consensus that the city shift strategies for the Parks and Recreation Department and take actions to begin to move away from the lease as well as restore that back to the schools. And so we've been working with the school district on implementing that. And so tonight's item is just kind of the first step in just formally doing so. And I will finish within the next 60 days, should council and the school board approve this, we will work collaboratively on a separation plan that will coordinate the next steps with the facilities, as well as just shifting all of the accounts and working together to remove the assets, and then they're the city's property. And we will also hopefully open our new Parks and Rec temporary office space, which is located at Incubizo, located at 1938 Burdett. They do have a new office space there now for the department that is meant for public access. So that should open up in the first week or 2 of October. And I'll take any questions. And I would point out Lynn Clark-Geiner is a member of the Resident Facilities Task Force, and the vice chair is in attendance tonight.
Excellent. Thank you for that overview. This has been a long journey to determine a decision on the Kulik Community Center in terms of our agreement with the school district. Are there any questions from council members tonight?
No questions, Mayor, but just a comment through the chair that I think we're moving in the right direction, and I'm pleased that we have with the schools to be able to work something out regarding the so. I'm glad we're coming to a solution, but there's still more work to be done, but at least we're getting somewhere after long conversations.
Go ahead.
Through the chair. If I may add to your comments, I agree, and I want people to be aware that the task force that has worked very, very hard over the last 6 months has made it very clear that although we may be separating ourselves from the Kulik Center as a building and working with the school district to repurpose that building, that does not mean that we are getting rid of a community center or the recreation facilities and recreation type of activities. That was very clear in the conversations with the task force, and their plan, once presented, will show what their thoughts and ideas were moving forward with a community type center to offer recreation activities.
Okay.
Through the chair, as long as we're in the comment territory, I'll throw in my 2 cents. One, I want to thank the the schools for collaborating with us on sort of reimagining the future of that space, and for giving us the opportunity to reduce costs by sharing the winterization and, you know, sort of wind down, seasonal wind down and preservation of the space while the school works on its plan for the next steps. And I also, since this is sort of adjacent, it's sort of the first step in realizing the work and recommendations of the task force, I'll just take the opportunity to thank the facilities task force for making very, very tough decisions, and making our job a lot easier and more confident knowing that we have residential input and support in these very tough decisions. Finally, I just sort of want to acknowledge the gravity of the shift in using this space for 20 years. It's a difficult transition, but it's the right one we've come to learn. But I don't want to be dismissive of the sort of the big event that this is as we move into the future and hopefully have some really exciting opportunities for new spaces for recreation and community gathering.
I appreciate the celebration of what's to come, because I think we are being thoughtful about the transition and how to use our park spaces in new ways. We're getting a new building in Martin Road Park for storage and for concessions. So, you know, how we utilize building and facilities is changing, not only from the Kulik Center, but into some new types of facilities that we've gotten grant funding for, that are building on the, you know, the ideas and thoughts that our Parks and Rec Commission and our residents have put into making sure that we continue to invest in our Parks and Rec. This has been a long journey since I became mayor. This was something that Councilwoman Laura Mikulski and I started negotiating with the school district on potential solutions. And so between pandemic, new baby, and other things going on in our lives, not mine, Laura's, you know, just, it, you know, took longer than we anticipated, but I'm just really glad we're at a decision point and a pivot point. They're both. And I want to echo the comments on the facilities task force. Tremendous amount of time and generous giving of their time to really dive into the details, because having a community-led and resident-led supported plan forward is what council has always, every council that I've been a part of has valued and put as a priority. And I look forward to the final report. Timing didn't work out great between the final report and the lease agreement and things like that, and but I'm glad this is here to move forward. And I have a feeling the residents will have more questions, and we'll be ready to answer them as things unfold. And when the report comes out in October. All right. Seeing no more questions or comments, we need a motion to proceed.
Mayor, I move that we approve to terminate the lease agreement between the City of Ferndale and the Ferndale Public School District for the use of 1201 Livernois, the Kulik Community Center, as submitted by the city manager.
Support.
Moved by Lise James and supported by Polika.
Can I make one additional comment, Mayor?
Sure.
I did want to make sure that everyone was clear is that this is, we're only terminating the agreement on the building,
Right.
not on the park or the park space, the green space. We still have that contract through 2024, I
Yes.
believe. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you for the reminder. That's one of the complications of the Kulik Center is that there's 2 leases, one for building and one for parks. The park will continue remaining a park. So those are all good things for the neighborhood and for our residents. All right.
Leaks May.
Yes.
Polika.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. All right, and that passes unanimously. Stay tuned for more information as the report comes out and more discussions to be had about important facility decisions that this council and the community needs to make going ahead. All right, so moving on to the last and final item of the regular agenda item is 8B, consideration approval of the 2022 Ferndale Master Plan, also known as Plan Ferndale. And welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Congratulations on being at this huge milestone point.
Thank you. All right, so my name is Christine Ross. I'm a planner here with the City of Ferndale, and tonight we will be going over Plan Ferndale for consideration of final adoption. So here's our agenda for the night. So we will be reviewing the Plan Ferndale background, how we got here, and we will be reviewing final edits that were recommended to us by Planning Commission a couple weeks ago. And then finally, we will be considering adoption. So the Michigan Planning Enabling Act requires all municipalities to update their master plan every 5 years. Our latest master plan was adopted in 2017, so we were due for an update. So over a year ago, we partnered with Smith Group to help draft a new community-driven plan. So after a very robust review period with many meetings, many events, lots of different virtual events and in-person events, we are here presenting our final version of the draft. So Plan Ferndale is an umbrella term for 3 separate plans. We have the Master Land Use Plan, the Climate Action Plan, and the Parks and Recreation Plan. So the Climate Action Plan is Chapter 6, and the Parks and Recreation Plan is separate, and it's already been adopted. So Plan Ferndale was built using public feedback, as mentioned. So we had a community summit last October. We had a very active discussion board with over 430 responses. We had 6 steering committee meetings, 8 two-hour city staff office sessions, and we held various mobile input sessions, and we had around 100 participants. And we also sent out some surveys, and we had 232 responses from those various surveys. So this has been pretty robust, and we're pretty excited to be here tonight. So part of the requirements that the Michigan Planning Enabling Act outlines is that every master plan has a 63-day public review period. So that started in June and ended in August. So the different methods that we used to promote the draft plan was through social media. We put posters in businesses. We installed lawn signs around the city, and we engaged with the discussion board. So you can see some examples here. The left image is from Instagram, and the right image is from Facebook. And we also did several in-person events. You probably saw CED staff, including myself, Kyle, and Roger, at any of those various events. And we had some great comments throughout the whole summer. And we also had 3 separate community meetings. And we incorporated all of the feedback from those sessions into this final draft. So on September 7th, the Planning Commission recommended adoption, and they recommended it with 4 conditions. So I'll go through those 4 conditions on the next slides. So the first condition was to designate the Marie Tot lot and Schiffer Park as open space. Previously, they were traditional residential, so we changed the designation, and we also created little pop-out boxes because the parcels are so small. The second condition was to delete this page. So this was the redevelopment strategy for the Hayes Lemurs lot. And after some public feedback, we realized that it would just be better to delete it because we didn't want any developer to potentially view it as a for sale sign. So it's been deleted. And the parcels will remain light industrial on the future land use map because that's what it was designated as previously, and it matches the current underlying zoning. The third condition was to figure out how to designate the Ferndale school sites. So originally, the future land use map designated all the public school sites as traditional residential. We also had some options that we discussed with the Planning Commission to keep it as is, change it to institutional, or change it to public schools. But our solution was to designate it as traditional residential / community asset. And one of our planning commissioners came up with this idea. And so every school site is now that light blue color. So the top image, you can see the Edison Elementary School, Harding Middle School, and Webb Elementary School are now all light blue, and then the Kulik Center and Ferndale High School are also light blue. And we created an information page that describes this new designation, and these sites will strive to preserve green space and public amenities. So here is that new information page. It's a little hard to read, I apologize, but it follows the same format as all of the other informational pages for the future land use map, and it really prioritizes green space. And the fourth condition that Planning Commission approved was to allow staff and consultants to make minor housekeeping updates. So an example of housekeeping would include any sort of grammatical error that needed to be fixed. And also we updated the action item list. So an example of one of the updates that we did was to create, was to rewrite the wording just to make it flow better and make the, to make it more, make it flow better, sorry. And we also changed the time frame from near to ongoing, and we added a key partner. Previously, we didn't have a key partner left, so we included the school district as a key partner for that. So most of the edits that we made to the action item list concerned updating the timeframes and updating the key partners. And we did do some rewordings just to make it flow better. But there were a few items that we removed. So here's an example of one of the items that we removed. It is from the systems chapter, and it's to create a municipal battery recycling collection program. And we removed this because it's already been accomplished. So congrats to Claire Dion, our zero waste coordinator, for getting this done before the plan was even adopted. So the action plan went through several updates, and we removed some of them because also there were some duplicates, and then we, after further consideration from key partners and stakeholders, other ones were updated and removed. And at one of the previous meetings, I think it was Madam Mayor who requested this action item breakdown list. So I went ahead and I created this. So there were a total of 289 key partners, but there's only about 155 action items. But there's a lot of duplicates on some of them. So you can see that City Council has the highest count. So lots of work to be done, lots of exciting action items and initiatives that will be coming your way soon. So the final steps are to go over any questions or comments that you may have. Today we did realize that we had two minor technical changes. A staff member's title has been updated, and then the Ferndale Arts and Cultural Commission had a change in terminology from the artist census to the artist collective. So that would just be changing 2 words. So council may vote to adopt this plan, or you can send it back to Planning Commission for additional edits. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you for the final presentation. We have seen multiple presentations over the last year and some months on the progress. And so are there any questions or comments about the final recommendations in this plan? Because this is good for 5 years.
Through the chair, I really don't have anything. Working with the Planning Commission at the last meeting, as was just reviewed, we had a couple of changes that have been made, suggestions, and we feel that the plan, it was voted on and approved unanimously. We feel that the plan is ready to move forward for the next 5 years. I will add, thank you for asking for that list of who's responsible and how much they're, that one. Yeah. The least paid has the most work. Isn't that always what happens?
Well, we have staff to support us, so I just
Very
see
true.
them doing a lot of work to support our teamwork.
Through the chair, I want to acknowledge, number one, the work of city staff that has gone into this, especially considering that the CED department has had a huge shift with a new director, a new zero waste coordinator, a new planner. It has been I don't want to use the wrong terminology here, but it has been a team effort and required a lot of coordination, and from the city manager's office to help through that transition period, to be able to pick up where other staff members left off, piece together information that might not have been left in the clearest state, and bringing that all together to create this final product. I just want to recognize the effort of staff under very unusual circumstances, as well as thank the steering committee that's made up of some staff members, some community members, other agencies in the city. Again, just like the facilities task force, these are folks who, on their off time came together to work on this plan so that we have a clear vision for the city. Thank you all for the work that went into this.
Well, thank you. And yeah, to your point, the entire CED staff that began this master plan update is no longer with the city. We have had 3 staff members change over positions throughout the past year and a half. So we couldn't have done it without all the help from steering committee, boards and commissions, residents, and our consultant Smith Group. So thank you.
Just to add, you've done a stellar job leading through this, and so has Kyle. So thank you so much for stepping up during some challenging and, it was still a pandemic when you asked to step up. On the thankfulness and gratefulness side, this master plan also includes our first climate action plan. So I want to also thank the Ferndale Environmental Sustainability Commission, who did significant work too, giving input on the strategies, the community-led strategies that will guide our policy and decision-making going forward on how we address greenhouse gas emissions, but also position us to be stronger partners with regional partners where we need their help to help achieve some of the outcomes and desires listed in the plan. I think combined of how this was integrated and the plain language used, every 5 years, this is my third, that I've been involved in has been really a massive upgrade and reorientation towards what residents are looking for in terms of how they want their community to grow. And there's just lovely components in this plan. But the thing that I take away the most is that people make community, and it's a people-driven plan. And Ferndale's, how we view ourselves is really of how we view our people and how we make it more welcoming and inclusive for people to be here. And to me, that is the true north of our master plan.
Mm-hmm.
And also thank you to our Parks and Rec department, because this is the planning trifecta document, which was out the gate early, but also contributes, and you see a lot of work from the Parks and Rec plan in the master plan as well. Truly a massive undertaking, and I almost feel like we need a little glass of champagne to come out and celebrate this massive body of work. And thank you for council for investing in something so comprehensive and making sure we got the final product deserving of our community. So. All right, seeing there's no questions and any more comments or?
I couldn't say it any better than any of you. Just thank you for all the work that's been done, all the partners involved, and I can almost hear the community's voice in this plan, so this is really important. So we have a framework to work with over the next 5 years, and I'm very excited to see what comes out.
Through the chair, if I could just also acknowledge, thank you, Lynn, for your patience in working with 3 out of 4 staff members. Well, I have 4th, Rachel is in the house tonight from CED, so I've got a shout out there. But no, Lynn, you also, the task force, appreciation of the task force for patiently working through the CED transition. It was quite significant.
All right, with that, there will be a quiz in 3 months on page 170 of this. Wait, that's the final page. On page 89, so keep studying. Can we have roll call, please?
We have to make a motion,
Oh,
and
make a
so
motion.
I move to approve the 2022 Ferndale Master Plan, Plan Ferndale, as submitted by the city manager.
Second. All right, moved by Polika, supported by Mayor Pro Tem James. All right, take it away.
Polika.
Yes.
James.
Yes.
Leaks May.
Yes.
Piana.
Yes. All right, and that passes unanimously. All right. Yay!
Year and a half.
And 5 years ago, I had party hats and little blow whistles. I totally forgot to bring them this time around. So sorry. All right. That concludes our regular agenda, and we are 8 o'clock moving on. Call to council. All right. Take it away, city manager, for department updates.
Thank I got a strange computer tonight. But I'm going to go with the one that I think I saw first. Dan Antosik, DPW Director. Really crashed.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I was just, Joe, you kind of got me a little wrong. I was going to say I was going to hold mine until the next council meeting to update people on curbside yard waste pickup and routing out our construction projects, because we're still working through some of those. But while I'm here, patiently wait. It will not be until the week of October 24th when we start curbside leaf pickup. In terms of the sidewalk program, as long as the weather cooperates, we should pretty much have all the concrete poured by the end of the week. And we're still working through our water main project. We connected the new main last Thursday, so now we just got to swap over services on the south block of Renson. Then that project will be hopefully wrapped up here in a couple of weeks. So other than that, that's all I have tonight.
Through the chair. So I saw that you did the crosswalks and the signs on Paxton. Thank you very much. Was wondering if you happen to have a couple extra trees in the yard that you might be able to plant along Paxton, since it's kind of bare now?
I mean, we do not have any extra trees right now.
Okay.
Typically, this time of the year, we haven't been planting any. We've been waiting till the spring, but that's something we can definitely take a look at on that east side of Paxton.
East side, yeah.
Yeah, where we don't have the overhead utilities.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dan, for the spontaneity. Let's have fun now. I'll just call directors at random.
That's what we used to do.
Chief Emmy, I do remember seeing you up there.
Evening, Mayor and Council. I promise I'll be brief. We're excited. We are helping the Ferndale High School prepare for their homecoming. It's this Friday. The parade starts at 5 p.m. in the downtown. The traditional route from 9 and Planavon to Pinecrest south to the high school. So we're excited to help them with that. And followed by the homecoming game is at 7 p.m. at Ferndale High School. Also, we are starting on October 6th. We finalized our roster for our Citizens Academy. We have 14 residents signed up for that, so we're excited that we have 14. Feel free to pop in for any of those Thursday nights. There's always room, and we'll have something to eat if anybody from council wants to stop in and meet some of the participants. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Next, we have Lorena Wheeler, our Parks and Recreation Director, who will officially be dialing in from a new location.
All right, good evening. I just have one big update. Fall Festival is this Saturday, October 1st, from 11 to 3 p.m. We do have advanced registration. If people want to register ahead of time to skip the lines, you can pay online through our Amelia software. You can also find us on Facebook and where to register, or through the city's website. And we need volunteers. So if anyone is interested in being a volunteer, they can contact Ferndale Parks and Recreation Department through our Facebook page, email us at ferndalerecreation@ferndalemi.gov, or you can call our office. We have a lot of support for our Fall Festival this year. We have several sponsors, several large sponsors, and we have police and fire and a lot of city support. So again, we need volunteers to make sure we don't have to cut anything and we can offer more than we did last year. So volunteers, contact us, please. That's all. Thank you.
This past Saturday was we call our UOCAVA deadline, so our uniformed and overseas civilians, they all received their ballots, so we're getting very close to Election Day. That means that we're 45 days away, less than that now. So today we had a group of volunteers come in, very appreciative of them. They helped us package almost 4,500 ballots, so that initial push is about to go out, and residents should expect their ballots in their mailbox by the weekend. So looking forward to that.
On the task force, I expect a report to be delivered in mid-October. I do expect to try to confirm that all 9 members are available. The manager's office has actually internalized the drafting, contracting costs, so it's taking a little bit longer for the drafting service, but I expect to hopefully have a draft delivered.
Thank you. All right, well, we'll move on to call to council with council members, and we'll start with Councilman Polika.
I have nothing this evening.
All right. Councilwoman Leaks May.
Well, this weekend is going to prove to be a very, very busy weekend. The chief spoke of it some, but I am excited about the homecoming parade. I happen to have a senior who's going to be part of the Royal Court. Exciting about that. And also, I just want to celebrate and give a congratulations out to the Ferndale Marching Band. They brought home a win on Saturday, so our first of the season, so we're on the right start. Also, this Saturday, I have the honor of being a judge at the kickoff at the Ferndale Library. So I don't know what time it is again, 2 o'clock. So if you want to come out and partake in a sweet event, I know I'm going to enjoy it. So please come out and enjoy. And then also, I think that the homecoming dance this Saturday too. So a busy weekend. So lots to do, and also the Fall Festival, so if you can make it there, please, our Parks and Rec Director needs the support. But yeah, fall is upon us. Great, lots of events. I'm excited. That's all I have for tonight, Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem James.
Sure. I wanted to let people know, or actually give a reminder that this Thursday evening, Zero Waste Coordinator and I, Zero Waste Coordinator Claire Dion, she has a name, and I are hosting a discussion about the composting program. That will be held via Zoom at 7 o'clock Thursday evening. I know that I've pushed it out on Facebook and all of the, well, most of the various Ferndale groups. There are a trillion, not all of which I am a member of, but I think I got the biggest ones. As well as neighborhood groups and so forth. And can the communications department give me a heads up on what other spaces people can find it if they're wise enough not to be on Facebook? Okay. I'm pretty sure you can find it on the city's website in the event scroll. And if for some reason you can't find it anywhere and you're interested, shoot me an email at kjames@ferndalemI.gov, and we'll make sure that you get the link. If you can't make it Thursday evening, but you're passionate about composting and want to learn more, it will be recorded and put up on the city's YouTube page, as all the previous conversations have. And then finally, I want to send my condolences to Councilmember Mikulski. What a hell of a year her family has had. My heart is completely broken for her. So when you run into her in town, please extend your condolences and compassion.
I wanted to, I am the last one, I wanted to also invite people to join me and the Downtown Development Authority in cutting the ribbon for Olive's Bloom Box on Wednesday 28th at 5 p.m. Their second location has had a soft opening, but it is their official ribbon cutting ceremony in our downtown. And it is beautiful inside. If you haven't walked by and gone in, you'll want to buy a pumpkin or something else fallish to decorate your house. And then I wanted to talk about an item that is going to be on the election ballot in Oakland County, and that is the Oakland County Transit Millage. And it will appear on all Oakland County ballots on November 8th, and it is the replacement of the SMART millage that is levied in the 24 communities across the county. You may affectionately know it, or unaffectionately, in my case, as the opt-in communities. The countywide Oakland Transit Millage is going to be going from 4 years to a 10-year millage, and remaining for us anyway in the opt-in communities at 0.95 mils. There really is no change to us in the millage rate for the communities that already are contributing to pay for regional bus service through the local transit millage. And it really is about, you know, maintaining service in existing areas, but also expanding public transit services, because you may be unaware of that there is a Western Oakland Transportation Authority, North Oakland Transportation Authority, an Older Persons Commission, and the Rochester area. So these parts of North Oakland County have their own transit services, and they don't have enough money to provide the types of service for their own residents. And so this millage that goes countywide really helps fund new services to key areas, employment centers and healthcare and campuses. And it actually is going to, help expand reservation-based service, so more flexibility for seniors and veterans who need to make essential trips, and also expand app-based service, so on-demand transportation. I think these are some of the services that our residents have been looking for, and really this is about supporting transit service to connecting people where they need to go, and it's going to benefit county residents and businesses. And so I encourage everybody to learn more about this. Millage at oakgov.com/Oakland Transit. Our community has always passed this millage overwhelmingly because we understand how transit supports our employers here, our downtown. This is how people get to work and get to their doctor's appointments and get to school. So again, oakgov.com/Oakland Transit. And that is my comments tonight. So with that, it is 8:13, and I wish everybody, wait a minute. I also wanted to express my condolences to Councilwoman Laura Mikulski, who lost a parent unexpectedly this week, and this is, she's had a very difficult year, and also want to express on behalf of City Council, our hearts and thoughts are with her and her family at this very difficult time. With that, I'm concluding the meeting at 8:13.